PG. Sydney and Essendon. Bell Chambers in the ruck against Naismith. Makes good solid body contact as Watson at the first bounce. Kennedy gets the first effective disposal. Bagley immediately wrapped up, slaps it clear. Kelly, one of the veterans. He's wrapped up by Kieran Jack.
James.
Isaac Heaney slow to get up.
Straight back here.
There was some solid body contact at that opening contest. Bell Chambers and Naismith at it again. Parker tries to pull it in one-handed. Watson gets boot to ball. Grundy one-on-one with Stewart. And the veteran claims the early honours.
To Grundy, to Lloyd, who's missed hardly any footy at all for the Swans since he debuted. Hurley, one of the two big ins for the Bombers. Well done. Watson just feeds it through. Chance for Merritt. Got three Swans around him. Rowan gave it up in the end. Watson stole it off Parrish. Ball still to be won. McVeigh, the veteran, signed another extension. 26th final for the 32-year-old.
Already a great intercept there from Hurley, just to read that ball and just read it off the back that Ambrose has gone to Franklin, as we mentioned.
And down the other end, Bolts, Rampy, the job on Joey Danaher. Rampy, blood rule here as, is it Isaac Heaney?
Just from that first contest, I think. Leggy.
Well, we know that man attacks the footy hard, so not surprising to see a bit of blood on him. But yeah, Dane Rampy has a job on Joe Danaher. That was another big in for the Swans. So unlucky, breaking his arm, just going for a jog around this venue. Tripped on a chain. Great to have him back out there, and that's that contest you talk about, Jace. Blood nose for Heaney, but he'll get that fixed up and straight back on.
Play resumes. Ball in dispute from McGrath. Another of the finals debutants. The Bombers have got 9. And an early touch for the rising star. He launches it low inside 50. Hanbury gets across. Read the Danaher lead well, made the intercept. Mills to Lloyd. He goes short and finds Reid at defensive 50. Reid over the top to Mills. Hanbury a fumble. Opens the door for Parrish. Tries to get it to Kelly. Kelly loses his feet. Parrish goes again. Flips it out. Taken by Towers. Can't get through 2 tackles. Watson's been busy early. Begley. Gleeson shrugs a tackle. Can't get purchase on the kick. Crashing through his Mills. It spills to Parrish. Bombers control the football through Ambrose. Little short kick finds Heppel.
They've had plenty of the football early, Essendon. Now it's a skipper. Heppel. Where's Joe? Danaher in the final. Huge start. Well, last night the noise at the MCG for Tigers fans and Tigers players was deafening. There are a lot of Essendon fans at the SCG.
He even had help then, Dane Rampy from Heath Grundy. Brilliant by Joe.
Joe Danaher. Big mark. Huge goal.
Well, here's the mark, Joe Danaher. What a start with this game. To stand on the top of Heath Grundy's head. Just a fantastic grab over one of the key defenders. And also, Isaac Heaney has just gone downstairs to get that lip fixed up.
Well, the old cliche about wanting to get an early touch in a final. That's about the ultimate touch, isn't it?
Thank you.
What a start for the Bombers. They have been a good starting team in season 2017. And important that they settle into this contest early. Naismith and Bell Chambers go at it again behind the back of Parker. Socket off the ground by Watson. Quick kick from Lloyd back towards centre half forward. Standing tall at the other end is Brendan Goddard.
And he was able to get free then, Brendan Goddard, because the Swans wanting spare defenders behind that centre bounce. Goddard will love it if he can be free all day back there.
Early a spearing kick towards Heppel and Watson and evades them both. Joe Watson off for an early spell. Already had 4 possessions and inserting a real physical presence into the contest.
And that's what you love about him. That's what you love about one of your leaders, your experienced players. Just hard body around the contest. Found the 4 disposals. We saw Trent Cotchin do it last night. Tackles, hit the contest hard, show the young blokes how to do it.
Bell Chambers tried to lay it down to Heppel, but Josh Kennedy got in the way. Just about a full house here at the Sydney Cricket Ground on a spectacular day. Naismith, lovely tap. Parker, quick kick towards Franklin, who just shoves Ambrose out of the way, plays on, heads goalward, and slides it across the face. So both the big forwards on the board early.
he couldn't have started with a Joey hanger and a Buddy trademark goal on the run, could we? He just couldn't quite finish it, but even he looks dangerous. The big stars got a spring in their step early.
Great to see Michael Hurley back in this Bombers lineup. Missed 2 with a calf. Gets a little bit of distance. McVeigh couldn't quite get hold of it. Goes back with it. Hanbury just pushes it in his direction. Tackles on from Danaher. Too high, says Razor.
Hands off! Track around your mark. Thank you, fine there.
So 26th final for McVeigh, only Burgoyne with more on an AFL list in 2017. Big flight at the front, not quite for Sinclair. Zaharakis was there at the fall of the ball. Kennedy now to Hanbury. Kieran Jack on his right side, which is the left. Puts it to a dangerous spot. Gary Rowan couldn't get there. Gleeson went up first. Fisted away. Towers lost it. Zaharakis, pressure is on. Rowan gets through again. Can't find his man initially. Begley underneath all of that. One of 2 teenagers out there for the Bombers this afternoon. Ian McGrath, 19-year-olds. 2 of the 9 Bombers playing their first final.
Naismith and Bellchambers down to Parker. Dangerous ball here for the Bomber defence. Jack tries to slice through, can't do so. Hurley takes him down. Kelly wrapped up by Parker, lurking with intent, taken by Heppel. He's stripped, holding the football.
In a normal game of football, if you think you've got a couple of seconds to dispose of the footy, well, in a final, and we've already seen early on, that's halved, that's gone. You just have no time at all. Straight away, you've got to be dishing the handball off or looking to kick it on. Another blood rule.
This time it's James Kelly.
Just got to know that that time is gone in finals, especially early on. Brilliant tackle there by Towers to nail the Essendon skipper.
McGrath checks back into the game. This has been the aspect of Towers' game that's given him some trouble this year. He's kicked 5 goals, 9. Now had an extra 20 or 30 seconds just to stew on this one.
It's always good.
Stay behind him. Thank you. That's it, Brendan.
Little man starts yelling a bit louder when you've got longer.
He shapes up to run around and work it back.
There's the free kick. Terrific tackle by Towers. Great finish. Patrick Ambrose the job on Buddy Franklin at the moment. I think Ambrose just got to be careful. He's got to get some body on Buddy because Buddy is looking dangerous, flashing past the contest, and Ambrose at the moment just letting him have a free run. I'm worried about what Buddy's going to do to Ambrose today.
So Kennedy, beautiful delivery to Reid. So Hartley spent most of his round 14 evening alongside Buddy. This time he runs with Reid, and Reid has a look inside, but the distance, it's within his range. Not a game last year for the Swans. Been like a new recruit, gets close to the man on the mark. It's gone a long way, but it's fallen short and just easily rushed through. So the Swans by a couple of points.
Sam Reid with hamstring, calf and Achilles problems last year, just 3 games in the NEAFL. Prodigious talent, as we know. Maybe this is the month where he takes his game to the next level. Michael Hurley hits long towards Danaher. Rampy just works him underneath, and umpire says illegally. That's that body spoil the defenders talk about, Lingy, where it's not so much a hand in the back, it's your torso into the back of the forward just to nudge them under the flight of it.
And you just hope you don't quite get them enough forward that's going to give away a free kick, but just get them under the ball. And this is what Essendon are going to try and do. When Sydney are well set defensively, just trying to kick mark the ball, but I reckon the Swans are set up well at the moment to try and stop it.
Parrish to Goddard towards 50. McDonald Tipperwoody caught at the back. St Jones takes the intercept mark. Squares it up to Heaney, who's back into the contest after an early blood nose. A clash of heads with Bagley, and he turns it over to James Stewart. Another one of these youngsters playing in his first final. An opportunity for an early touch for James Stewart. Originally at GWS, played 18 games there over the last 4 years. He's Played 15 at the Bombers this season, been a really handy acquisition.
Oh, he's been so important. He's so agile, so athletic. He just provides a different dimension to that forward line. That Isaac Heaney kick, it was the old thing of one step. He didn't have any momentum through the ball, kicked off the back foot, so he turned it over.
Been in good form, 8 goals in the last 3 weeks. Huge moment here for Stewart. Stuttering approach to 40 metres out. Just slides it across the face.
Made a mess of that run up, didn't he, Jones? It was all over the shop.
McVeigh, the veteran, just a little one to himself, and then Towers, who kicked one moments ago for the Swans, gets hit high. Happy just to work the ball down the wing. You see Harry Cunningham out there, not named in the 22. The laid out Lewis Milliken. Cunningham comes in. As we go down to you, Jude, the noise is deafening.
Yeah, it's huge, Hammer. The crowd is right involved in this, and Lee touched on it early on. Around the contest, it's hard to fight through just with the hands. You've got to be able to have that release player in your vision and give them that to have the time and space.
Naismith doing the ruck work, just a month of football. The abdominal strain, Kennedy ends up working to the hands of Sinclair. Dealing with the glare of the sun, into the pocket, not quite for Buddy. Getting the right spot was Goddard, and then Zaharakis trickles one around the corner. Zaharakis again on Hewitt Strong.
Buddy just hurt himself at that last marking contest. Just hobbling a little bit off the back of this boundary throw-in. There it is there. Great help from Brendan Goddard. Slow to get up the champ.
It was heavy contact, wasn't it, in from the back? Naismith tries to get it to Hewitt. Parrish involved. Now to McGrath. And McGrath to Goddard. Bombers looking for some run down the broadcast side. Hartley into the path of the exciting Tip and Woody. Got a horrible bounce. Suits Towers. Begley gets a piece of him. Umpire says a throw, but he kicked it.
Oh, I think the umpire just blindsided then. Clear kick. Mistake, but blindsided.
Begley wants to move it on quickly. Bellchambers his target. Punched away, slapped forward by Watson. To Parrish. Goes towards Danaher and Rampy. Clears that contest. Coming out to meet it, Grundy. Lays it to Rampy. Gives it to Lloyd. Lloyd to Newman. Look out for Tip and Woody. Has to release quickly. Bouncing ball in dispute.
Foot race is on. Unkind in the end for Papley. Parrish got support. Myers. Not a lot of options other than to go the way he was facing, and Zaharakis provided the option. Over the top, Bagley. Huge numbers of Bombers supporters in the house. Tip and Woody the target, front spot in the end. Smith couldn't hold on to it. Heppel, little kick, impeded in the end. Kennedy and Danaher, they collide. Lloyd did well, took it to ground. McDonald, Tip and Woody was there just at the right time, and Begley nowhere to go.
Lance Franklin can hardly run, boys. He's really struggling. He's got the really bad corky in the right thigh in that marking contest. He can hardly move at the moment.
Thanks, Jude Bell-Chambers. Sweetly down to Heppel. Grundy. Desperate stuff. Handball. Well, it was meant for Smith. And then McDonald, Tip and Woody went without it. Here's a chance for Joe. Kennedy. Desperate times. Last line of defence for the Swans. Wide ball. Newman in his first final. Did well. Clever handball. Jones in huge traffic. Zaharakis the tackler. It's intense as we expected it to be.
I'm impressed by this Essendon start. So many nerves. They don't have the finals experience, but they've handled it well. Great tackle by Zaharakis.
That's your 10.
Controlled the ball movement at times, even with the early Swans goal. The Bombers just settling okay into this elimination final.
Takes all of his time around the corner, but offline.
But that stings. That really stings when you just want the nerves calmed down a little bit more. Got to finish your work.
Move it in.
So 1-2 apiece midway through the opening term.
Hold.
Grundy receives from Lloyd in the pocket and gives it off to Zach Jones. Sells the dummy on Collier, gains an extra 10 metres, penetrating kick towards the wing. He's perfectly weighted for Sinclair.
Franklin's gone to the bench, boys. He's working on that right quad.
Hewitt goes to Heaney and it's punched away by McKenna.
And Bolts, you know from experience with a corky, they're the ones you've got to keep warm, don't you? As soon as you sit down for too long, it just freezes up.
They're just going to get a little bit of heat into it, Lingy, and then try and get him back on. He's just he hobbled off when he came off. He wasn't happy at all.
Well, Chambers uncontested in the ruck, tried to get it to Watson, but only as far as Papley. Touched off his boot. McKenna taken down by Rowan. Towers feeds it back to Papley. High ball inside 50. Storming out is Sinclair. And Callum Sinclair has played some good football in the back end of the season. I remember up here him dominating a game against the Saints, playing as a legitimate big forward.
15 gone!
45 out, 45-degree angle. And the Swans have got two.
Well, the crowd's given Buddy Franklin a big roar as he's come back on, but boys, he's got a heat patch underneath that little bit of padding on the right quad. He's in a lot of discomfort.
Sinclair, he kicks his first. Swans get their second. Lead by 6. McGrath just tried to work Hanbury off the football. Couldn't quite. Towers somehow got his left boot to it. Bagley under pressure from Newman. Got the handball in the Merritt direction. Buddy, little touch. Hewitt, Newman, Bagley this time. Well, somehow it comes out. McGrath waits for a loose ball. What a season McGrath's had. He's been almost untalked about, and as a #1 draft pick, that's unheard of.
#1 draft pick, NAB Rising Star winner. He's had a wonderful season. He's so composed. That's been the amazing thing.
Free kick to Towers for a block in the ruck contest. Chance for the Swans to go inside 50 once again. Sinclair will get there on the bounce. One-on-one with Hurley. Under immediate pressure to Collier, Gleeson, and now Goddard. He goes short and finds Bagley.
Hold there, Harry, hold!
And that heat pack that Bolts was talking about going on Buddy Franklin's corky there, that's just to try and keep it warm. It's not the best first aid that you should do on a corky on a bruise, but that comes after the game. It's just to keep it warm so we can get through this game.
Watson wins the scramble. Collier did enough, pinned the arm of Lloyd, wins himself a free kick, wants to move it quickly. Goes down the line. Danaher's got a metre on Rampy. And once again, Rampy concedes a free kick. So Joe Danaher's size, when he can get in front and get a leap at the ball, is worrying Dane Rampy.
As good a defender as Rampy is, that's the one thing. He doesn't have the size of these big guys, and it is concerning him. You're right, Jace. Beautiful
kick to Watson, but he fumbles. And the Sydney crowd let him know all about it.
Walk away.
Let's have another look at Franklin.
Who's up? Thanks, Dean. Top.
Pulls up a little sore heading into that contest.
Bell Chambers just has a little break on Towers. Brilliant in the end to Kelly. High up and under. From the sunshine into the shadows. Begley, little leap at it. Rampy knew where the help was. Knocked it in the Grundy direction. Grundy had it underneath him and then just stolen from within, and Fantasia ends up with Hanbury on top of him. So just getting back to Buddy. He's very tender. The trick now, Lingy, just to keep moving.
He's got to keep it warm. As soon as a corky gets cold, it'll seize up on him.
He's just walking through the circles and now jogging towards the wing, Buddy. So since he's been on the ground, he's hardly been stationary.
Patrick Ambrose might be the happiest man in the world right now. Buddy's a little bit wounded.
Front spot and then Parker, terrific hands. Wanted Hanbury, who was cruising by. Hartley was up to it.
He played on. He played on.
Really clever there from Hartley. Just knew what was going on straight away. Just put the hand in and forced the fumble.
So the Bombers now with a chance to set up at their forward 50. Bell Chambers.
Holding kick, Parker. Luke Parker, free kick. Yeah. Wasn't in the rough.
Rowan sets himself and marks. He's got a wide open forward 50. It's a one-on-one contest. He heads in that direction. And the mark taken by Newman against McKenna. Floats a kick, an awkward one for Jones. Sets him a task. He's surrounded by 3 Bombers. Gets it off to Towers. Quick bouncing ball towards Heaney. Can he spin away from Goddard? No, he can't.
Thanks, Isaac. Go, buddy. You're going to come out the back here, gentlemen. Ruckman.
Did well then, BJ, just to not let that one slip high. He did almost worked it perfectly.
Sinclair down to Hanbury, ran into trouble in the form of Kelly. Myers took the football, tries to get it to Collier, taken by Jack. Quick hands, Parker. Newman wants to step a couple. The over-the-head look-away handball to Hanbury. Quick snap from Cunningham. Across the face and out of bounds. Plenty of heat from both sides around the contest right now. Here's the look-away.
You're right on the mark, mate. Stay behind, please. Move it on, Marty. Play on.
So Gleeson, the youngster from Croydon, just works the ball outside the defensive 50. Danaher, again, flying this time in the defensive half. Took an extraordinary grab early in this term. Went back and kicked the first of the afternoon. So since then, Swans a couple of goals. 2-2, plays 1-2. And in terms of tackling, both sides on track for 100 tackles, 27 to 23. Still 6 to play in the first term. Well done, Jack. Hanbury wanted Jack again, then Parrish swept on the loose ball. Zaharakis, Heppel, helped by McGrath. Danaher to Merritt. Normally a wonderful user of the football, puts it in front of Fantasia. Took it on the half volley, brilliant. And then the kick not so. Turns it over. Now to McVeigh. Into the sunshine it goes. Heaney waits.
It's got Jones cruising past.
They did so much right then, Essendon, with that build-up. Just that last kick. Not only was it a turnover, but it was a really shallow entry, which means Sydney can just rebound quick. Essendon don't have time to set up as well.
Good start this from Sinclair. Good hands on the sizzling kick in. Inside 50 off the hands of Naismith. Newman floats a little left foot up, was well read by McGrath, but his fist only as far as Jack, who can line up and goal.
It was well done by McGrath to get over there and help out, but Swans just had numbers everywhere. That all stemmed from that turnover from the Fantasia kick, because Essendon defenders were scrambling everywhere. They were just trying to make up the ground and they were disorganised. The Swans now building a nice little buffer.
And they work for it again, this time through Hewitt. Quick kick forward, Gleeson got a hand to it and then just chases after the loose football. Reed's tackle was brilliant. Somehow Gleeson fed the ball back to Goddard. Now Tippenwoody, defensive side of the wing. Got a leading Stewart, tough for him. Just kept it forward. Collier, Fantasia, McGrath working in a phone box, did brilliantly. Back to Fantasia, to Heppel, to Zaharaka, smothered by Smith. Quick pick up, feed, Kennedy, clever again, and then a high up and under for Smith, a long wait in the end. Gleeson has it knocked away by Parker. Telstra tracker.
Yeah, great access with the Telstra tracker. Brendan Goddard leading the way, 3.4 Ks. Twice this year, he's run over 15 kilometres in the game, so Goddard really covering the Ks. Heath Grundy as well, a key defender. Obviously, that Sydney defence just shifting really well, and Heath Grundy clocking up the Ks as well.
Begley and Stewart as well, which shows you how much forwards have to work these days. Picked off by Lloyd. Rampy. Quick ball inside 50, off the chest of Franklin. Still alive for him. Shrugs Ambrose. Papley tries to dance around McKenna. Chance for the Bombers to counter-punch. Merritt. Into space. Tippenwoody tries to get over the back of Mills. Mills got a hand on the football. Lloyd comes in support. He's wrapped up by Collier. Heaney's taken down. Mills to Smith. Late contact downfield.
Downfield. No, it was downfield.
Against Anthony McDonald-Tippenwoody. So a chance now for Tom Papley to set up from the wing.
Going now, guys.
Just pops it up high towards the 50. Again, Sinclair flies at the front of the contest. Parker tries to emerge through traffic. Gleeson didn't quite stick the tackle. Umpire says play on. Ball spills over the line. The absence of Cale Hook is interesting, isn't it? That Joe Danaher's now having to push right up to the wings to get a kick. He's getting involved as a ruckman. It just changes the whole structure of the Essendon forward 50.
It does. Cale Hook is such an important player for this Bombers team. They love him out there. I just think Essendon are getting sucked into trying to play the game a little bit too fast all the time at the moment. The Swans are happy with the high tempo. And their kicks, when they do eventually turn it over, Essendon are ending up really shallow or outside 50, which is leading to Joe Danaher having to get further up the ground to search for the ball. So the Bombers maybe just got to take the pace off the game a little bit at times.
Play on.
Naismith knocked it down to Kennedy. Heppel and Kelly made it tricky for Josh Kennedy. Just on the tackle count, average tackles through the home and away season, 70 per side, 36 already for the Bombers. Still 3 minutes to play in the opening term.
Play on.
Naismith got a hand to it. McGrath couldn't quite reel it in. Reid was good at ground level, just threw it in the Naismith direction. Hewitt, Kennedy, McVeigh fed it back. Now to Grundy. Low, beautiful kick. This is his man, ends up with Gleeson. So Gutter just cruises through the goal square. Goddard to McKenna, and McKenna little one over the top to Collier, who looks over the top, and McKenna's continued to run. He's got a space in front of him, but two Swans come from either side and block the space. So McKenna now, little bounce, wide is Collier.
Smart kick.
On the 45 to Joe. From about 60, he unloads, it's gone a long way. It is just offline.
Much better build up there, though, from the Bombers. Just a bit more composed, as you were talking about, Lingy. Just use the usable all the way up the wing.
Danaher looks up, and he's got McDonald, Tip and Woody as his main forward target. Good effort from Gleeson against Parker. It spills to Merritt. High ball back towards the pocket. McVeigh happy to allow the support to come. And Callum Mills diffused the situation. Reid just inside the boundary. Chip over the top. Hanbury's got to stand and wait. McKenna coming the other direction. Gives it off to Papley. Papley goes down the line looking for Franklin. One-on-one with Ambrose. Spills to the back. Naismith tracks it back. He's got Bell Chambers for company. Coming across was Kelly to provide defensive support. Ambrose shunted over the line by Gary Rowan. So 90 seconds remaining in the opening term.
Tom and Sam, yes. Yes.
Swans leaded by 11 points. High intensity opening term. Off the hands of the ruck contest of Bell Chambers. Couldn't get an effective kick. Parrish, quick hands. Merritt tries to bust his way through. In fact, it was McGrath. Socket off the deck in the Jones direction. He runs into Danaher and will go no further.
It's a little thing John Worsfold might want to fix up at quarter time with his midfield group. Just the clearances starting to get away a little bit from them. 13 to 8.
Yep.
You wouldn't want that to continue, because if the Swans dominate round there, they'll dominate the game.
Well, Watson has another chance to work it in the Heppel direction.
Play on.
Desperate stuff over the top with Hewitt. We said earlier the Bombers have won 16 first quarters this year, equal with the West Coast Eagles. Swans, for the moment, lead by 11. Watson.
Hands off.
How many more quarters of AFL football does that magnificent footballer have left? Taken to ground quickly as soon as he got hold of the football.
Thanks, Joe. Out here.
Inside the last minute of the first term, Bell Chambers knocked it in the Watson direction. Couldn't quite go through Hewitt, but he'll get the free kick.
Right contact. Hands off. Hold.
Watson to Hurley. Are they keen to kick one late in this opening term, or happy just to maintain possession? Bagley's got a couple of runners. Kelly went towards the boundary. He was ignored.
I don't mind this. Just control the footy for a little bit. Don't want to concede another one.
Hurley got Collier on a long lead. Collier's got the speed to get there first. Goes back by hand. Still 15 seconds to mop up. Gleeson. Well, in the end, it ends up with the strong hands of Stewart. So one last roll of the dice, perhaps. 5 seconds. They need a mark here, the Bombers. Heppel's in the right spot. Through the fingertips. Manic first quarter of football. It's an elimination final. The Swans hosting the Bombers 3-2-20 to 1-3-9. It's the Swans by 11 at quarter time.
Really even contest. Bombers had a chance to kick a couple more in the opening term. But it's the Swans by 11 as we start the second quarter. Naismith gets a run at Bell Chambers. It spills to Parker.
High tackle, Sydney. Parker.
Gets it, goes quickly. Kennedy's searing kick finds Franklin right on 50.
At the moment, the Sydney Swans just doing a job on Essendon around the clearances. 6-0 centre clearances. I know that one came from a free kick. But if the Swans can keep getting it straight forward from a centre bounce, it's going to put Essendon under the pump. They're going to have to try and work it the whole length of the ground.
Clearances around the rest of the ground, Lingy, are pretty much even. It's just those centre ones at the moment that are costing the Bombers. So Lance Franklin from just outside 50 winds up and drills it.
A few people have mentioned this already, but Buddy Franklin, that's just an example of the straighter run-up that he's got. He's just a bit straighter with his run, a bit straighter with his action, and he certainly loved it. He is sore, but you know he's still going to have a big part to play in this one today.
Under duress at quarter time on the bike, heavily strapped, kicks the first of his afternoon. 17-point lead to the Swans as Kennedy just works it in the Parker direction. Fantasia comes off the line, ends up with a big tackle, ball spills, and then Jones just hammers the ball forward in the Buddy direction again. Goddard leapt and just put his fist in exactly the right spot, knocked it out of the defensive 50. Chance from McKenna, ran into Ambrose. Jack in the Buddy direction. Kennedy got to deal with Zaharakis. Did well, heavy traffic, still found Papley. Goddard intercepted well. And Kelly knew McKenna was. Somehow Hanbury ends up with a football. To Papley, to Buddy, to goal! Buddy's got two! Try and stop him.
2 goals to start the second quarter from the champ. He's hurt, he's sore, he copped the big corky. But Patrick Ambrose is going to need a hell of a lot of help because Buddy is all over him at the moment, even though he is sore. Ambrose's teammates have got to come to the rescue. Help out.
Critical time now for the Bombers. That one's going to be brought back as Jobe Watson delivered it inside 50. Important now for Essendon. Have a little bit of time in possession, Lingy. Just gain a little bit of control and a bit of tempo back into this contest.
Exactly right, Jace. When something's open, go and go quick. But if it's not open, it's not there, just be controlled with the footy. Try and work the ball down the ground methodically. That doesn't help.
Purple into the man on the mark. Fortunately, ricocheted off Reed back to him. So he has a second go at delivering inside 50 through the hands of Danaher. Ball in dispute at the back of the contest. Begley in over the top of that one. Umpire waits and eventually calls for it.
Thank you. Gonna come out the back, gentlemen. Tom.
Well, Chambers tries to get it to Myers. Quick hands, ends with Watson. Spun through the tackle. Hanbury wrapped up by Myers. Ball spills free.
Back, Sydney.
Myers just gets into Hanbury's back and the Swans will clear.
Not for the first time. Hanbury to Kieran Jack.
Please, Orazio. Play on, you.
You talk about Essendon being methodical. The Swans from halfback just
Play on you.
happy to do it slowly and with method.
Bit too easy, wasn't it, Hame? They're up on the wing now. It was deep in Essendon's forward line. The pressure's off. Bit too easy there. Well played by the Swans.
Long ball to about 60 from the Swans goal, and Sinclair again. Strong overhead quickly, puts it into the spot. Buddy got a bit to deal with, but Buddy can deal with plenty.
And that's the difference, Lingy, isn't it? Straight down the line, they've gone to Reed, to Sinclair, to Franklin. They've got tall hit-ups the whole way down the ground.
And I was saying that Patrick Ambrose needs help. That's not just in the air in a contest. He certainly needed it here. Buddy just had him completely covered. Help down the ground as well. Don't let the ball get down there. Otherwise, Buddy's going to kick another 10. I reckon they're going to make a change anyway. Buddy is all over Ambrose.
The big man on campus. He's got 3.
Well, this is quarter time. That's what Buddy Franklin was doing to keep the quad, the corky warm, so he could play out the rest of this game. Well, he's just gone bang, 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 kicked 3 goals this quarter. Ambrose still on him. I think Michael Hurley's got to go to him now. I know Hurley's better off intercepting, but maybe he just has to take on the challenge as the #1 defender to try and stop the superstar.
Got to muscle up around the stoppages at the moment. The Bombers, they're just getting manhandled as the Swans surge it forward.
This is where the experience has come into play. They've certainly been able to just worry the Essendon Bombers into some mistakes over the ball.
Gleeson to Myers. Essendon needs some tidy use, but they also need some run and movement down the line. It's again to a 2-on-1. All Hartley can do is try to halve the contest. And that's the difference at the moment in the ball movement.
Exactly right. And even then, Myers had Heppel out. That's Gary Rowan saw in that
Sydney Ruck
marking contest. Didn't see what happened there, Jace, but maybe another corky. Let's hope it's nothing worse than that.
Bellchambers to the front for Parrish, but got a nasty bounce. Hewitt stripped him of it. Heppel puts his head down, wins it, gets it to Parrish. He's immediately stripped. Quick hands, Myers, Zaharakis, now Merritt. Goddard's going to get run down. Flips to Zaharakis. Gets it on the boot quickly to a dangerous position at half forward. Going back is Callum Mills. And this is where you see the Swans start to spread.
It's turning nasty a bit, this.
The Bombers need to hold them up. They've just got to hit up targets down the line. This time it's Heaney. He looks up and goes. High ball. Hewitt will sit underneath it. Parker there as well. Off the hands of the contest, taken by Reid. Parker. Jack. No penetration in the kick. Reid flew over the top. Myers had it stripped. Goddard. Panic handball. Chance here for Hanbury. He gives it to Cunningham. Now Jack. Good run down smother from Merritt. Franklin. Taken down by Ambrose. Did well. Merritt's kick is going to come straight back through Grundy.
And a 25-metre ball over the top to Nick Smith. Kick and a half from home for Smith. There's Buddy. He's in ominous form. He's standing at about the 45. Big fly in front, Isaac Heaney this time.
There's Gary Rowan on the right sidelines, fellas. They've been checking his right knee. Looks okay at the moment.
11-1 contested marks. It's a startling stat. So Isaac Heaney can make it 7 in a row for the Swans. Last 3 of the first term, the first 3 of the second, all to Buddy. Not as he wanted. It is a balanced, even side, this Sydney outfit. Since round 7, only 2 sides have been able to beat them. This is the Gary Rowan. You can see Hartley just falls into his left knee, pushes it inside.
McKenna needs to be tidy. Pressure on again. This time it's Kelly. Puts it to Gleeson. He clears the zone. And Stewart takes a very important mark. Can the Bombers get something going? Kelly concedes to Hartley. Goddard tries to work to the pocket. The Swans have been so good. This time it's Lloyd on Kelly. Free kick, but Sydney giving them nothing in terms of open men to deliver to.
Exactly, but Essendon are also hesitant to just take the simple open one. They're waiting a fraction of a second to Sydney close.
Parker the fly over Heppel. Delivers it back inside 50. 2-on-2 contest. Sinclair. And they are controlling the skies at the moment. The Swans with marking power. We saw the stat on contested marks moments ago. And Sinclair a chance to kick his second.
Don't go forward until I call. Do not go forward.
He's taken Tippett's spot in the side. And with good reason. He's in form.
That's Luke Parker at his best when he's jumping at the footy like that. Callum Sinclair, terrific finish. Very happy man. Well, headaches in the Essendon coach's box now. All Swans turning the ball over, creating chances.
The Bombers got the first of the afternoon at the 3-minute mark. It was Joe Danaher, and since then 7 goals without answer to the Swans. Hewitt knew exactly where Cunningham was, and then a low ball back in the Towers direction. Brilliant stuff from Heppel, puts his man off the ball. Parker beaten to it by Parrish, couldn't hold on to it for long enough. Then Newman dropped the footy. Cunningham ends up with it, crashes it back inside 50. Here's a chance for Sinclair, looking for a third. A lot of people were thinking Tippett was going to be the one that held his spot, and which of Naismith and Sinclair was going to join him. Not the case. Sinclair and Naismith both out there this afternoon, and Sinclair started brilliantly.
Goddard pokes it to Merritt. And now Bagley. Bombers just looking up, as you can see there. Sydney filling all the holes.
Set perfectly defensively, the Swans.
Mills will fly, and they are dominating the skies. Intercept marks are bound, and they just keep turning it around and sending it back inside 50. Mills concedes ground to Grundy, and now Lloyd as they look to work it around into some space. Rampy sneaks forward of Danaher, gathers from 70 metres out, goes to the pocket. Franklin! Couldn't quite. Kelly at ground level. Watson, more panicked handballs from the Bombers under enormous pressure. This time it's McKenna, taken by Heaney, and he goes!
I think Buddy's feeling good. Yeah, nearly took that one. Created an opportunity at ground level, though. Love to see him in full flight. The Swans attacking brilliantly, potent up forward, but they've only conceded 11 inside 50s to Essendon. They are just perfectly set everywhere across the ground defensively. Essendon just cannot move the footy at all.
10 of those inside 50s were in the first term, so we've played 14 minutes second term, and the Bombers have taken it inside 50 once.
8 goals in 38 minutes for the Swans. It's been dominant. Here they go again, this time Lloyd to Reid. Buddy gives an option and then just directs a little traffic. Reid over the top, loose man. Lloyd started this, might finish it.
And I reckon the replay of that is not going to be pretty for the Bombers. Jake Lloyd did start it, as you said, Hamish. But then no Essendon player actually tracked him down inside forward 50. There would have been a number of Bombers just watch him run past and think, oh, somebody else will cover him. Well, nobody did. It could be costly again.
Can you believe that? 9 in a row to the Swans. Lloyd joins in and gets in on the action.
Well, the Telstra tracker, look at that. That is distance run while your team has got the ball in their hands. That is a massive difference there from the Swans in this second quarter. 19, nearly 20 kilometres in attack. They are all over them.
Parker this time inside 50 once again.
Excuse me?
Past Sinclair and Hurley and Goddard. Helps if you have the football, Lingy. They can't run very far in attack if they don't have the footy, and right now the Bombers just can't get their hands on it.
Exactly, but it also shows too, Jace, that when Essendon do get their hands on the footy, they're almost scared to run. They're worried about the next turnover, so they become more stagnant. They don't want to run and attack and create. The Swans, they're keen.
Merritt leaves it behind. Kennedy doesn't. Snaps. And kicks another. It's an avalanche.
Essendon, just terrible setup, really. So much space. Josh Kennedy, great finish. It's an Essendon free kick back at this centre bounce. There was a bit of push and shove after the goal was scored, but at least the Bombers now get a chance to go forward. And good control so far. The Swans set up perfectly behind the footy again.
Leading up to that goal, Bombers had 34 touches for the term, only 2 in their forward half as Watson goes in the Heppel direction. Well, this time it's Parker. They've just dominated the marking contest, the Swans, and then they're happy just to back themselves from the back half to set up and push the ball forward. 64 plays 9. Margin is 55. And the Bombers, since the Danaher goal at the 3-minute mark of the first term, really haven't had too many answers. Zaharakis, the one to the skipper in Heppel. Now to Merritt. Beautiful kick. Absolutely superb to Begley.
It's a beautiful kick. It's the perfect kick because the Swans were set up so well. That's what they've got to do. They've got to lower their eyes home. And Zach Merritt, from all I hear of him at training, he works on those types of kicks all the time. Kicking across his body, last minute just checking, lowering eyes, hitting up the small one, kicking the long one. All the different types of kicks you can do, Zach Merritt works on them.
It's been 46 minutes since they kicked the goal. It was Joe Danaher early. Now it's Josh Begley.
Well, what a road for Josh Begley. Just 18 months ago, he was playing his footy at Upper Ferntree Gully. He planned on playing his whole career there. He was overweight, 105 kilos, big skin folds, got down to the Eastern Ranges after some good performances, won their goal kicking, got drafted, and now he's playing in an AFL final. Well done to him. Tipperwoody, socket away by Naismith. Bouncing ball inside 50. Bagley, knocked over by Heaney, gathered by Parker. Misses.
Goddard's loose, sitting behind the footy in front of Franklin at the moment. But you could see just then he just got gobbled up with the weight of numbers coming through with the footy.
Well, that's right, Bolts. He's tried to do that for most of the game, hasn't he, Goddard? And he's had a bit of the ball. He's had 11 disposals, but Sydney have just sliced through so well that Goddard's almost become irrelevant as that spare. He hasn't been able to impact the play.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is also the other issue. Is because you're trying to take the sting out of the game and move slow, and you're losing the contest in the air, it just comes back very, very quickly.
McKenna, Hurley, and now Kelly. Goes to Danaher, out-muscled by Naismith through his hands. Heppel at the back, clever little flip to Danaher. He's got nothing to kick to. John Worsfold working the phone. Dane Rampy from the interchange gates. Floats a high one. Danaher with the defensive fist. Heppel down to Kelly. Tipperwoody, quick kick, just throws it on the boot through the hands of McVeigh. Now a chance for Fantasia, who's been quiet. Feeds a handball back to Heppel. Can he get something going? This time he puts it out on the full. The Bombers in a deep hole right now. Just have to work their way back bit by bit. They have been a resilient group over the last 2 years. They need to draw on that right now.
Parker just sort of thrown out of the contest. Umpire said fairly so by Goddard. Goddard just heads back to half-back.
And Haim, as part of their getting back into this game, it's just got to be built in the contest and around the ball. After 40 tackles in the first quarter, they've only had 7 in this second quarter. That's not necessarily completely about intent because they've wanted to do it. They've just been nowhere near their Swans opponent to be able to do it. They've got to get back closer in at the contest.
So McDonald Tipperwoody, one of the highlights for the Bombers in the last couple of years. Hasn't missed a game in 2017. McKenna, his last year was superb too. They work it to the outer side. In front spot, Hurley leads Rowan to the football. Just under 7 minutes before half-time, just a couple of goals, and not for the first time in the last few minutes. Bombers gift the ball back to the Swans.
And that's now just perceived pressure because of the onslaught from the Swans. These Essendon players are panicking with ball in hand. So many times just kicking it out on the full and back to the Swans.
Front spot, Gary Rowan. Got a few options too, Rowan, and then the low ball to guess who?
The Swans have just been magnificent, absolutely magnificent. But now, because of how well they have played, all the Essendon players are just thinking about their own games. No one is coming off and helping out. In the air, didn't help out and spoil on Gary Rowan. Nobody got back in the hole there to help Ambrose out with Buddy Franklin on the lead. They have gone so much into their shells now, the Swans can just dictate everything.
He's white. Thank you, Brendan.
Franklin's looking for 4. Is to make it 11 in a row to the Swans. Crowd says it all.
Lance Franklin with his 4th for the quarter. With under 6 minutes remaining until half-time, the margin at 56 points. Chambers gets it down to Myers. Floats a kick inside 50, turns the defence around. Rampy and Danaher go at it. Rampy has front position. Has to try and keep it alive, then tries to take it over the line.
I think I said 11 in a row a moment or two ago. I forgot to drop the second in. I apologise. Getting excited about what the Swans were doing.
It's felt like it,
hasn't it? Apologies to Josh Begley.
Bell Chambers down to Myers again. Quick snap from David Myers is superb.
Nice tap by Bell Chambers, and David Myers just on the move. when you're a big-bodied player like he is, being on the move just helps so much. Hard to stop, and outstanding finish by Myers.
So second goal for the Bombers in this second term. Danaher got the first of the afternoon, but the Swans have kicked 11 amongst it all and lead by 50. Bagley got help in the form of Ambrose, just arches back, but away from Parker, but they're just on the back foot relentlessly, the Bombers. Bagley from deep inside the defensive 50 finds Bell Chambers, marks over the top of Jack. Now Bell Chambers got a couple of options this time on the lead. Fantasia. Joe's his option. Rampy goes with him. Joe quickly turns. Rampy just gets onto his hip. Chance now for Collier. Clean take was good. Hartley. Collier. Not 15 the call. You heard the umpire. Now Parrish on his left boot. Bell Chambers bouncing in front of Heppel. Bell Chambers has one in Goddard. Sinclair knocked it down to Hewitt. And the Swans can build again.
Heaney to Lloyd. Feeds it back to Grundy. This is where Essendon have to try and hold them up. Parker's got a couple to beat, and Hurley will come in as Parker was engaged by Bagley. Trying to find a hole. Bell Chambers the target. Collier front and centre. Doesn't quite get the angle right. Little by little, Lingy, the last 2 or 3 minutes has been better for the Bombers.
It's been better, but straight away even then from the kick-out, just an easy exit for the Swans. That's better by Gleeson, though. No, he has given away a free kick. At least he was up on his opponent, not just conceding an uncontested mark, but unfortunately gave away the free kick, and they're already up to the wing.
Just like that, McVeigh to Reid, who's in best position. He marks. Wheels and goes quickly. Towers has found some space. Frustrated Essendon fans will be screaming at their TV sets. Who's on him?
And they've got every right to ask, because so often we've seen Sydney just be able to easily exit their defensive 50 and bring the ball down the ground, and good luck to the Bombers defenders. When it's coming down that fast, they're just scrambling. The work's got to be done up the ground to at least put on a little bit of pressure.
Similar shot to the one he kicked in the opening term at the other end. Same result.
This is a terrific build-up again by the Swans, another contested mark, and you can see how dominant they've been in the air. 17 contested marks to Essendon's 4, and they average 12 per game.
12-5 to 3-4. It was just 11 points at quarter-time. Margin now is 55.
Bolts, how on earth was this team 0-6? We watched this today, and they're the best in it.
Oh, I think they've always started slow after a deep build-up in previous final series, but they were probably every right to be about 2-4. They started really poorly, but they lost a couple of close games.
Parker somehow ends up with the football in the Kennedy direction. Gleeson is there. Reid mops up. Jack just takes a skip and a bounce and a left-hand turn. Now it's Hewitt's time to work it back to McVeigh, and he under pressure gets boot to ball. Oh, you're kidding me. This time it's Kennedy. Back with the flight. Turns in the air. Can have a look at another. He's already got one.
Big-time finals player, this bloke is. We've spoken about it in the build-up to the game. That's a terrific mark. Just keeping his eyes on the footy. This will be possession number 13 for Kennedy. He's already kicked one. 4 clearances, 8 contested possessions. The skipper's leading the way again, and the Swans are just putting on a dominant display on the back of their midfield beasts.
Came into the game with 14 goals, all singles. For the first time this year, Josh Kennedy, he's got a couple in a game.
34 possessions and 3 goals to Josh Kennedy in a losing grand final team last year. And he's well on his way to matching those sorts of numbers today. I know it's not quite the grand final, but it's still a final, and he's had 13 touches and a couple of goals. He's been big in this first half.
Bell Chambers to Watson was slick to Merritt. Goes towards Stewart at half forward, but coming out to take the grab was Grundy.
Their marking is unbelievable in this half, the Swans.
Intercept marks alone, 12-4.
Here's Cunningham on the end of that ball from Lloyd. He's down the line looking for Naismith. The kick just floats wide and Bagley cuts it off. This has been the problem for the Bombers from half back. They've been very tentative with their ball movement in the back half, just by virtue of the fact they can't find an open option that isn't carrying inherent risk. Hurley to Kelly. Every kick seems to be to a contest, every meaningful one anyway. As Kelly retreats again to Zaharakis, and the Swans just work them around their own defensive 50.
It's been brilliant, this Sydney performance in this first half. Absolutely brilliant. Offensively, they've scored 83 points, but you're right, Jace. Defensively, perfect.
Watson's kick floats wide. They've done it again. They give them nothing.
Over the line. Your kick, but over the line. Thank you.
Rampy. Parker sets himself. Hartley with the big fist over the top through the legs of Ambrose. Franklin surrounded by a few Bombers. Goes again. Bagley in there scrapping. Gets an arm of Parker. Takes him down.
We know they're brutal, the Swans, Lee, but in terms of efficiency, 27 inside 50s. They've scored 13 goals, 5.
Ridiculously impressive. And in finals, and this one isn't going to be a close final, but in finals, the most efficient team wins.
Tippenwoody to McGrath to McKenna. Hurried kick outside 50, and again, it's picked off by Lloyds. What a half of football from the Sydney Swans. Fantastic second quarter of football. They led by 11 points at the first change. They kicked 10 goals 3 to 2 goals 1 in that second quarter. Flexed their muscle and have pulled away to a 61-point lead at the major break as the push and shove continues after the siren. The Swans with a masterclass in high pressure, high intensity, physical finals football as we head down to June.
Well, Kieran, you're right in the thick of it here, mate, but you just took control in that second quarter.
Yeah, it was big, Jude. I thought we played the type of footy that we want to play. Restricted their sort of run off our back and uncontested burn. So, big second half, yeah, got to continue it.
Really dominant in the air as well, down the line.
Yeah, well, I thought big boys were well. Look, Parker, a couple of really big marks there. You know, we pride ourselves in the air on the ground. It was a good quarter.
Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, mate.
Sensational opening half from the Swans. They lead by 61 points at Sydney 13-5-83, Essendon 3-4-22 in the elimination final.
So it was a dominant first half from the Sydney Football Club. How do the Bombers respond? What have they got left? A club that's been through so much. Can they do the unlikely this evening here at the Sydney Cricket Ground? Josh Kennedy, superb in the opening half. Buddy Franklin, limping for a bit. He's got 4 goals.
Buddy's outscored the Bombers by 3 points in the opening half. Such is the domination of Sydney.
A couple of little moves they made. James Kelly up onto the wing, Andy McGrath up onto the wing. Just trying to throw maybe some different numbers around the ball for the Bombers to get something going in the middle. The Swans, they're just going with their big guns. Kennedy, Parker, Hanbury all around there. Papley's in the middle as well.
Third term of the elimination final. The Swans in control by 61 points. At ground level, Watson, first disposal to Merritt. Can the Bombers free the shackles and just play some liberated football? Gleeson out towards Stewart. He'll wheel and go. He's got Danaher leading towards the football, heads in that direction.
Well, the perfect start to this third quarter. They came about with just some composed ball use. They won the clearance first of all. Merritt with a clever kick out to Gleeson, and then give Danaher a chance to run and jump at the footy and do what he does best.
Just got to get back to basics, don't they, and win play by play by play. Chance for Danaher to strike the first blow of the third term.
Nice subtle little block there by Fantasia. Just at the back there, took Rampy off his line, which meant he couldn't come over the top and help out. That's really clever by Fantasia. Gave his key forward the best chance to mark that one.
So the Bombers have 4. Danaher's got 2 of them. Bell Chambers over the top quickly. Naismith pulled off his kick, but just trickles the ball down to centre half forward. Towers in battle with Gleeson. Bagley's got a bit of a problem. Parker, superb to Reid. Tried to work it back inside. Hartley got into the right spot. Hurley, lightning to Heppel. And onto his right boot. Foot races on. Begley, Mills. Heaney ends up with the football. Takes on both Heppel and Watson. The veteran ends up with it. Gives it to the youngster in Merritt. He in turn to Heppel. Now to half forward. Danaher's got the first to the third. Going back with it, Grundy. Got a couple of options in the end. Reid, make it Jones chosen to McVeigh. And he just ambles across half-back. No rush at all, just back to Smith, who's so often in the right spot for the Swans.
Stark contrast to the sort of pressure the Essendon defenders were under in their own back 50. Rampy. And the niggle continues.
Joe, 3 metres back. Joe, with me. Oh. Push out.
Rampy to Mills. Swans looking to switch to the far side of the ground, but the Bombers have that covered.
Stay behind. Move it on.
Yeah, well done. Well defended by the Bombers. Forced a long kick down the line.
Which Smith does. Jones versus Heppel. Spills to Fantasia. Maybe a chance to create something at ground level. Uses his speed. Runs to 52 metres. Attacks the open goal face, but misses left. Much better start to the third term. Early going for the Bombers.
I did say well done forcing the long kick down the line, but today we've just seen Sydney mark everything when it's long down the line as well. Their contested marking's been so good, so hasn't mattered too much, but that's a bit too easy out of fullback there to McVeigh. Better pressure low on the kick.
Bell Chambers put the pressure on. Newman gets rid of Watson. Gets around Heppel. And then just hits about a 50-metre ball to land about 55 from home. Goddard went back with the flight in front of Buddy. They were the 2 that collided earlier in the afternoon, and it was Goddard who inflicted the pain onto Franklin's leg. Heavily strapped now. Since that, he's kicked 4 goals. McGrath took on Towers. Towers just got a hand to the jumper. McVeigh knew where Towers was, sort of worked the ball in his direction, and then everyone runs out of room.
This moment to go.
It's a hard one, isn't it? That is obviously high contact and an elbow, but when you've got the ball in your hands, is it a fend-off and it's just a high fend-off that should have been a free kick, or is it an elbow that gets looked at by the MRP?
Watson paddled to Collier. He's dispossessed. Kennedy to Hannebeek. Jack off a step towards half forward through the hands of Heaney. Hurley at the back in best position, can use the support of Goddard. He's got Zaharakis breaking into some space. Now a chance for the Bombers to build off half back. Looks up, has an option. It's Fantasia, and he hits him on the chest. Quick ball movement continues. Kelly. Merritt. His handball didn't hit Zaharakis. That allowed Mills to run him down. Created a contest. Bell Chambers takes on the tacklers. Umpire gives him an opportunity and then penalises.
Yeah, you called that well, Jace. It's exactly what the big fella did, Tommy Bell Chambers. Just ran at the tacklers. Happy to almost draw the tackle, maybe break through, and well umpired.
McVeigh to the run of Grundy. Searching kick was a beauty towards Heaney. Bagley did just enough. He came off second best in the contest. And the ball spills out of bounds.
He's really sore after that contest, Mark Bagley. A really tough contest, running back inside, but
full body.
He landed all over.
Neck just bends in the wrong direction there, Jude, doesn't it?
As much time as you like.
Not great at all. That just as he came down, you could see just the real stinger there. Hopefully he's all right.
Just crumpled under the body weight of Heaney coming down on top of him.
Just sort of like a pressure on the head.
No, you're going to call for the stretch, I think.
And a lot of pressure on the back of that neck. Just there, that is really awkward. Bagley's up on his feet, which is a great relief.
He's a tough character, very tough character.
So the Swans again, first hands on the football. Parker works it forward again. Gleeson and Papley do battle. McGrath waits for Parker.
Fend off, Essendon. Arm was up in his throat.
I know they, on the bench don't have the replay straight away, but I'd love after a mechanism like that, Bagley to get straight to the bench though and get checked out. That looked a particularly nasty one. Great to see that he's up and running now, but I'd prefer him to have to come to the bench and just be screened, to be checked out.
So Watson sees the runner inside in Ambrose. Tackle is on from Jack. Got rid of the football. Zaharakis. Merritt went forward to Heppel. Got held onto. Advantage is called, I think. They're going to bring it back.
He's got numbers lining up on the far side if they want to head in that direction.
Merritt sees those numbers now. Gleeson. Little one over the top. Allows Bell Chambers to run into space. Takes it cleanly. Rampy, hot on his hammer. Missed his man. Wanted Stewart. Now it's picked off by Grundy, almost given to Newman. Ground level ball. Gleeson to Bagley. Great to see him running, fit and healthy. Hurley now on the left, just as effective as the right. More often than not. Long ball. Tip and Woody. Here's Danaher. Oh, 1 and 3. Just offline.
They're flicking it around by hand, Essendon, and they've certainly got their game going, trying to get that overlap run. 18-7 with the handballs in this quarter.
Jones beautifully around McDonald, Tip and Woody. And that's no mean feat. Gleeson over the top takes the mark. Much better start here from the Bombers. Parrish from 55 rushes the kick. Tough task for Collier, who keeps his feet. Bends it around but can't quite bend it enough. Essendon at least have stabilised the situation, Lingy.
Absolutely, Jace. It's what they had to do. First things first, get your hands on the ball around the contest. Better with their ball use going forward. And as we've seen a couple of times now, better set in their defence. Not just conceding the simple ones and allowing the Swans to easily move the ball down the ground. Though they might be out now. No, they've scrambled pretty well here. He's forced a high kick. Yeah, well done by the Bombers. Looked like the Swans might have been out, but they scrambled well to cover the outlets. They get another chance to go back inside 50.
Great gut run from Mark Bagley to force that errant kick.
So Hartley now to Gleeson and McGrath, who's had a sensational year. Danaher front spot, Tip and Woody out the back, quickly onto the left boot. And the score as Smith plays a sweeping roll, takes the mark, sliding through.
With me. Through the points, Nick.
52-point margin, early going third term.
That's fine.
13-5, 4-7, 10-goal second term for the Bombers.
Holding, Sydney. 50 metres. You punch the ball away. 50 metres. Jokic, you punch the ball away.
Not sure whether everyone on the ground's heard the umpire yet, but the 50's been paid and all the players marching through the middle of the SCG.
Good 50.
And now the critical moment for the Bombers to hold them up at the other end. The Swans now with a chance against the flow of play as Lloyd goes short to Kennedy. Essendon conceding possession right up to the 55. You can see there's plenty of numbers back for the Bombers, yet they still find a hole. George Hewitt did get forced wide. Tough kick.
2 more metres. He's on his man now.
So he concedes to the top of the square. Parker flew early. Rowan read it better. And that's always the worry when you have the football at your end of the ground for a sustained period, but you don't put it on the board, that the opposition goes down and goes whack.
Absolutely, Jason.
He's right on the mark, that's your line.
Unfortunately, another symptom of just being dominated so much in this game. No one wanted to fly. No one wanted to help come off their opponent and make sure Rowan couldn't get a good run at it.
So many marking options for the Swans, and they've all been busy tonight.
Elimination final at the SCG and one about to get underway in the Adelaide Oval. A few hours away, a lot to play for. The Eagles have played the Adelaide Oval well. Port Adelaide have gone and beaten the Eagles in the West. Fascinating contest. So that live at 7:30 Eastern. Chance for Merritt. Wanted Zaharakis. Parrish arrived and suddenly it's McKenna in his unusual way on the left boot. Forward the ball flies again. Stewart and Grundy do battle. Picked off in the end. Off the ground, Hewitt crashed into the Bomber and taken to ground.
Straight up. Give Georgie. Thanks, George.
You talk about players blossoming, Lingy. George Hewitt had to wait a long time to get a game and hasn't put a foot wrong since he arrived.
No, he hasn't. They absolutely love him. Loves the role he's prepared to play, but gets in and wins his own footy as well.
Played 33 games in the NEFL in 14 and 15 before cementing his spot in this team last year. Merritt flips it over the top to Fantasia. He goes to Watson. Watson to Zaharakis. Good run here from the Bombers. But the finish misses left.
And just on George Hewitt, he had to wait until the start of the third season to get his first game. Only missed 2 since he debuted.
Got a great record of blooding players in the NEFL, giving them lots of time to develop. You can do that when you've got a deep list. It's punched away from Heaney. Bagley can't quite keep it alive.
And that's what they've managed to do, which is so impressive, is debut players, so many players, and interested. On look at there, Nathan Jones, brother, of course, playing today. He would love to be playing finals footy himself. The Demons so close this year. He'll be keen to do that next year. But the Swans have managed to debut players and develop players while still staying at the top of the ladder. So impressive. Right up there, fighting for finals and grand finals while giving players opportunities to grow and develop.
Watson's kick picked off. There is Zach Jones. Gets it to McVeigh. McVeigh goes down the line to a one-on-one. Rowan versus McKenna, 2 speedsters at ground level, over and out. And that's been one of the benefits. We spoke earlier about why were the Swans 0 and 6 at the start of the year. Well, they were without Heaney, Rampy, Papley and McVeigh. They had Parker and Kieran Jack both coming off injuries. So that forced them to blood youngsters like Newman, Florent, Haywood, Melican, Marsh, Fox, Foot. They've unearthed some gems out of that. That's the silver lining.
Sydney
Free kick here. There's the silver lining, not only for this year and this time of this year where you can turn to a few of those players, for the next 3 or 4 years. You get 10 games under their belt. Next year, you maybe get them another 15 games. All of a sudden, they're becoming experienced players quicker than what you'd normally expect by a team that's up the top of the ladder vying for grand finals.
6 debutants for the Swans this year as the Bombers work it through the middle under immense pressure, but they've kept hold of the football. Parrish looks inside to McKenna. Through the circles, again it's Danaher. Leads Rampy to the football.
2 metres with me.
Heard the umpire, brings Rampy back to about 60 from home. Just off his line and into the hands of Rampy. Gets a second crack at it, pushes it forward, might get a third crack. Parker this time the tackler. McVeigh in his calm way at half-back amongst all of the mayhem. Just a neat little kick out wide to Hanbury. And here's perfectly to the chest of Sinclair. Sinclair now, Buddy in the pocket, one-on-one, Ambrose and Buddy. Ambrose will be pleased.
He works so hard for that free there, Callum Sinclair off Michael Hurley, just to really just push hard, and he's really justified his selection in this team moving forward.
It's been a wonderful trade. They swapped him for Jetta at the end of 2015. Really starting to pay off for the Swans now. Naismith. Franklin scrapping with Ambrose and Watson with strength, gets it forward. And the man we were just speaking of, Callum Sinclair, got to the end of it once again. And they have for a few years been experimenting with different structures up forward. Who plays second fiddle to Buddy? Who provides that additional option? And Callum Sinclair's come from 3 or 4 back to take that spot.
He has, and a few of us were surprised when we saw Kurt Tippett out. Thought, oh, we perhaps thought that he'd be the man in the finals and maybe Sinclair would miss out, but Sinclair's just forced the coach's hands. Played great footy. Said, you're going to play me ahead of anyone else.
Can play as a legitimate forward. He's got 3.
The Telstra tracker tonight has been showing the most distance covered in the game is Brendan Goddard. Sadly for him, 10.5 kilometres. It's pretty much been run in defence, trying to scramble and cover for the Swans. They've dominated.
They dominate in the middle again, the Swans. Again, it's Sinclair this time. Just a hand onto it, couldn't reel it in. He's got 3 for the afternoon and early evening. Goddard, desperate now, last line. A little fling in the Gleeson direction. Loose man is Heaney.
This is turning into a mess now for the Bombers.
Heaney plays on under no pressure at all. Sydney get their 16th.
Here's the deliberate against Brendan Goddard. I think happy to get out of bounds. He did have a teammate there, but then that was just slack. Poor marking. Isaac Heaney says thank you very much. The Swans are now the highest scoring team of this finals round so far. And what are we, halfway through the third quarter? Eclipsing both the Adelaide Crows and the Tigers.
Kennedy to Jack. He stands up in the tackle as well. Naismith.
Put his knee in his back.
Free kick against Naismith.
Straight to him, yes. Knee straight in the back.
Challenge now for the Bombers is to regroup once again. Started the quarter well. In the last 5 or 6 minutes, they started to slip away. Started to drop off their intensity. Smith to Lloyd. Now Grundy is once again, they work it laterally inside their own defensive 50. McVeigh on the end of it.
Stay out, stay behind.
See Reid leading towards him down the boundary line. He now turns.
You, mate.
Instead, he chooses the Papley lead, who went to play on. Has got support runners. Cunningham, now Jack. Jack inside a wide open forward 50. Franklin caught behind Hurley. It'll spill for Heppel. He soccers it to Gleeson. Hurley's handball did Heppel no favours. Franklin almost stole it. Heppel stole it back. Hurley and Heppel again making heavy work of this clearance. But eventually they find Goddard.
That's it, Sam. Hold there. Push right out. Me. Push out. You.
Collier through the middle he goes. Well, sort of symbolic of the afternoon a bit. Belchambers had it lost and the Swans just regroup and punch forward. Kennedy first to the football. Heaney kick the last, gets rid of Watson, gets around McGrath off the side of the boot. Reid almost keeps it in front of him. Benefits George Hewitt in the end and then measures his kick into the pocket. It's going to come unstuck onto the chest of Hurley. Leading Buddy Franklin to the football. Franklin, if you've just joined us, 4-1 for the afternoon. Only had 6 kicks. Heppel quickly to Goddard. Back it goes to McGrath. Tackles on from Rowan. It spills. Heard the umpire. Touch play on. And then Kennedy runs into trouble. He's gone. Have a look at what the Swans have been doing to sides this year. 14 wins, average winning margin 7 goals.
We shouldn't be that surprised, should we, given the form that the Swans carried into this final, but it has been brutal. And they have been unbelievable in that area. In the air, just completely dominated.
Intercept marking has been astonishing. Jones inside 50 looking for Franklin. One-on-one with Hurley again. Franklin at ground level confronted by Collier. Franklin slips a tackle. Heads goalward, but Gleeson's in the way. Goddard to Collier. Just hangs on. He'll bring it inboard to McGrath. He'll be confronted by Jones, so he'll release a handball over the top to Parrish. Got an awkward bounce. Hanbury in there to put pressure on. Myers to McGrath. Tumbles a kick forward. One-on-one contest. Lloyd leads Fantasia. Lloyd happy to work it towards the boundary line. X-factor players for the Bombers, just unable to really exert a major influence tonight.
He's worked hard, Fantasia, but hasn't had the big influence that we thought he might have. It would have been hard to be in that Essendon forward line these first 3 quarters. Has not come down well at all.
He's had the 12 possessions. McDonald, Tipperwoody the 6. Parker. Heppel there with a tackle. He's just sweating on that ball.
And even when the ball has got down there, it's just got it down there under enormous pressure. The Swans avoid, just get a hand in. Even if a Bombers player gets a kick, they'll still get a hand in, affect the kick, help their defenders.
Hanbury. Reid kept his feet as Ambrose lost his. He pokes it wide. Kennedy involved in the build-up. Penetrating kick towards Franklin and Hurley. Hurley did well. Swans fans want a free kick. Gleeson slides in and the ball spills out.
There's such an aura about that man on your screens. Jude, just going down to you, the Sydney chart's been ringing out for a while now. The noise, it's an excited crowd. It's, I think, a crowd that thinks perhaps the last game of the season is possible.
Yeah, I think they do, especially the fact that they've been on the road before. They've won on the road towards the back end of the year down in Geelong and also in Adelaide. So I think there's an excited crowd here, and certainly the Swans have put on a display.
And it's not as if the crowd doesn't have its own huge percentage of Bombers fans either. They've just been silenced.
Yeah, the 8 busloads came up from Essendon as well as all the people on the plane. There's a heap of red and black here as well, but they have been silent.
That was all right, Dan. Thanks.
Buddy just having a bit of fun with Michael Hurley.
Welcome to my house. Off the ground, McKenna didn't go anywhere. Ambrose watches on as Parker just puts boot to ball. Again, just off the side of the boot. Heaney, can he work it back inside? Still stays in, at least for the moment. Newman went low. Umpire said no. And you talk about debutants. Newman is one of those. Milliken was going to play. There are going to be 2 of the 6 that debuted this year playing in the final. Laid out Lewis Milliken, but Newman's just slotted straight in.
Perfectly. He's been composed in big moments too, and Milliken will come right back in, I'd say, if his body's all right.
Franklin high on Hurley. Nick Newman, another product of the VFL, is running around at Frankston. Callum Sinclair was playing Development League at Port Melbourne. That's the VFL reserves. Not that long ago. Rampy the same. He was playing Development League in the VFL as well. They've come from far and wide. Hanbury receives from Smith. Little kick towards Kennedy. Put him under pressure. Newman off to Rampy. Looks for an option. Will square it up. Rowan in perfect position.
Great kick. Brilliant. That is a superb kick. Saw where the space was.
Mark is here, mate.
Gave his teammate every single chance of marking that one. Beautiful play by Dane Rampy.
What a player he's become. Grew up in Sydney, only took up footy at the age of 17, Dane Rampy. Spent 3 years at Williamstown, won a league best and fairest up here in New South Wales. Made the rookie list.
Thanks, Marty.
And now he provides for Rowan, who finishes. For a team that's made finals 19 of the last 22 years, you don't get a lot of early draft picks, so your development work's critical, and Sydney have been exceptional.
Exceptional from far and wide, as you mentioned, Jace. They've got them, and they've turned them into good players. It does show that quality is out there, though. There are some very good footballers playing in the state leagues at the moment.
Kennedy. Now to Harry Cunningham, who was a late in. Almost for Sinclair. McKenna fumbling the ball, and Heaney just on his hammer. Just back to the Swans list. So 7 debutants last year on top of the 6 this year. So 13 players have stepped out for the first time under John Longmire since the start of 2016.
It's a positive cycle, isn't it? When your depth's so good at senior level, you can leave those guys to develop in the NEFL so that when they come in, they know the system and they're ready to go.
Towers watches on. Bell Chambers, a little fumble. And you speak about where they've found their players. 7 on the rookie list playing out there. Or coming from the rookie.
And it's not a fluke. It's not some magical formula they've got. They go and identify some good talents and players who should be given an opportunity, and then they put time into them, develop them, challenge them, create a really great environment where they can be the best they can be, and they're delivering in another final.
Hot football. Fantasia, and it's stripped again, and not for the first time. The Swans come away from a stoppage with the football. They're just working through every situation. It's almost like they got the exam early. They've got all the answers and have had it since early in the first term.
They have smart man John Longmire. We spoke about Josh Kennedy and the fact he kept the team pretty settled after a 0-6 start, but credit to Longmire as well. He could have panicked, but he didn't. He knew this team was good enough to go deep into the finals.
Kennedy to Cunningham, ricochets back to Kennedy's hands. McKenna goes back and Gleeson tidies up. Sells the dummy on Rowan. And kicks to open space. Can Tipperwoody get onto the end of this with his speed? Coming across as McVeigh to work the angle. Tipperwoody paddles to his own advantage. He can go again. Needs some support. It's 3-on-1. He feeds it back to Goddard. Now Heppel. Heppel's kick run down by Newman. The Swans will get the turnover. Towers wrapped up by Merritt. Heppel, quick hands. The look away was good to Kelly, but he's got nowhere to go. Kelly across his body towards Goddard, who was taken high in the marking contest by Parker.
That passage of play, the game's over at 75 points Sydney's way. That passage of play sums them up. They were just not prepared to concede anything then, Sydney, and all of Essendon's disposals under enormous pressure.
Just going back to the 22 out there for the Swans today, I said 7 have come off the rookie list, 10 have. It was 7 I was looking at as debutants from last year, so 10 out there started on the rookie list as McKenna continues to sort of charge forward and then ran out of options. Zaharakis presented. So Danaher will have a look at his third.
Your arms are around. Your arms are around you.
Three-quarter time siren goes. Joe Danaher
One on the mark. Stand behind.
has continued to work hard throughout this game. Has not been Essendon's day at all, but Danaher's continued to present up, at least give that option. 3 goals to three-quarter time would be a solid return for him in what has been a pretty dark first 3 quarters for the Bombers.
Joe has 2-2 for the afternoon. He steered it through. He's got 3. The Bombers have got 5, but the Swans have got an unassailable lead. 17-5, 107. It is a monster lead of 69 points. 5-8-38. Last change at the SCG. Last change in James Kelly's career. On to you, Jude.
Yeah, Haim, obviously we spoke about the regeneration of the Swans and just how they've been able to bring some of those young players in, but you need to create an environment. What makes the Swans a very good side is the leaders drive it, and Josh Kennedy, Luke Parker, they're #1 ranked players on the ground at the moment. They're the ones that really drive the standards, and it's interesting to see they've started Buddy Franklin on the bench with an eye on Friday night against the Cats.
I wouldn't be letting him come anywhere near getting back on the ground, Bolts.
Keep him off here.
Final quarter of the elimination final. Sydney leaded by 69 points. Naismith the tap down to Kennedy. Papley immediately tackled by Tippenwoody. It's taken by Kennedy, who's wrapped up by Zaharakis. Merritt to Goddard. Inside 50, Rampy in best position. Zach Jones receives from Smith. Goes towards Rowan. Athletic fist there from Gleeson.
And this is a strange feeling for Sydney players to be in, and Buddy Franklin as well. It's a good feeling because they know they've won. They know they're playing next week against the Cats, but they've still got a quarter footy to play, and they want to play, make sure they have good habits. They're playing the right way.
Holding Sydney on the arm. Sam.
Playing good football to head into next week. But they also know they don't want to get hurt, and they don't necessarily need to give absolutely everything like they did at the start of the game. So it's almost get through, but still play a decent brand of football to build into next week.
Naismith to Papley to Rowan, off hands and out. What about from an Essendon perspective? It's equally uncomfortable, even more so for them. They're down 69 points. And you can argue, well, you've got nothing to gain, but inside the football club, you would argue completely differently.
Yeah, it's just a horrible feeling. You're done. You feel hopeless, and you know your season's done, but you're feeling that bad about all that and the way that you've played. There's no way of almost finishing the game off on that big a high because you know it doesn't matter. So it's just a really terrible feeling to have the last quarter where it's just completely done. Somehow they've got to maybe finish with a bit of positivity. Kevin Sheedy would certainly be wanting them to do that there with the CEO of the Giants.
And the streak continues. No Essendon team that isn't coached by Kevin Sheedy hasn't won a final since 1968, would you believe? It'll be 50 years next year. Sheed's the only man to have coached an Essendon winning final since then, as Jones goes inside 50. Off the shins of Sinclair. Taken by Towers. Off a step with the left. Just sneaks it in for a minor score. I guess that's liable to happen when you coach for 27 years at one club, Hammer, but even so, it's still pretty remarkable, isn't it?
He did have a monopoly on the job for a while there. So Goddard, his kick intended, I think, for Collier. Might have been Heppel, but Jones again just did enough.
Hasn't been a good weekend though for Sheeds. He would have hated what he saw on Thursday night with the Giants being the inaugural coach there, and he wouldn't be enjoying what he's witnessing here at the SCG. So he might just get a little bit of that steely look about himself after the game, get a bit grumpy.
In fairness, he's 2 from 3. Last night would have pleased him.
Yes, true. He would have loved to watch the yellow and black do that. The back pocket plumber.
Come out here, gentlemen.
Where do you mark the Swans downlingy if you can? It is a brutal month, and you need to be the best in the last game of the year. They're the best this afternoon. Is there any area that you can see of the Swans where John will say, righto, we were good, but I'll give you some think music on that.
Push, go through.
He'll be constantly working on that, Hame. Sydney free kick plus the 50-metre penalty. They'll constantly be working on things. There's the free kick, just a push in the back, and Zach Jones will take it up the ground and give the Swans another chance to pile on a goal, but there's not a lot of weaknesses. I do not see many weaknesses in this Sydney lineup. Well organised.
Mills
Rosie
hammers it forward, and Bagley takes the diving mark and gets the Bombers rolling again. They've been outworked and outmuscled and humbled here at the Sydney Cricket Ground this afternoon. It's a 70-point margin with the bulk of the last term to be played.
Time back on.
Buddy, he was electric to start the second. 3 goals in 5 minutes or so. Another late in the second term. Finds himself on the bike, and you know you're a big star when you've got people behind you taking iPhone footage of you cycling with the players back to the photographer.
Zach, 2 metres.
Here's Darcy Parish. Goes to Bagley. Expect a little give in board to Gleeson, but that's covered. So he goes by foot back to Parish. He transfers it wide to the far side, and James Stewart goes down the line, but Newman peels across in front of McKenna and cuts it off.
Another intercept mark, theme of the day.
Play on, play on.
Newman on that favoured left boot. Reid went to ground early, and that allowed Ambrose to take an uncontested mark. Gives it off to Hurley. Short to Zaharakis. He in turn goes short to Hartley. Hartley to Danaher.
Top the arm. Yeah, straight to him.
Kicked 3 goals to Joe Danaher. 2 for out to score on this occasion. So he'll pop it up towards the square. Bell Chambers, the tall target. Papley at the back. Throws it on the boot. It's a 2-on-2. Swans keep their feet. Jack and Bagley. Bagley does well, wins the football, gets it to McGrath, and now Collier. Pokes it inside 50. He's got an option. Good pressure from Kennedy. Spills to Fantasia, and he snaps a goal.
Donald Tipperwoody, he's had a tough game. Hasn't had a huge impact, but he has hit the fastest speed in the game, 32.8 kilometres an hour. So he's continued to try hard and run hard and try and use that speed, but it's been a tough night for him and that Essendon forward line.
It's been a tough afternoon and evening for the footy club, hasn't it? I mean, all around the ground, they've been beaten up by this experienced Sydney outfit. We said earlier that they've got a lot of their experienced Swans out there. At one stage this year, the Swans had 13 of their 22 from the grand final side missing week to week. Not so this afternoon. They've managed 17 of the grand final side out there.
They've managed to get them back, haven't they?
Yep.
They stayed strong to what they were doing, knowing that once they got those players back and got some games into them, their footy would come together. And this bloke is one of the huge reasons as well. Dane Rampy has had the job on Joe Danaher today after he came back from that broken arm. Him and McVeigh just settled that back line down and they got rolling.
Talk about finding gems. He's running around for the University of New South Wales not so long ago, Dane Rampy. Won the Phelan medal, and since he debuted, other than tripping over a chain, he's never been really out of the side. Mills, the rising star of last year. Hanbury to half forward. Bell Chambers from behind, leaps Naismith in front. Now, this was the selection that surprised a few, Sam Naismith. Kurt Tippett was thought to be likely. A few changes, and Naismith, the one that raised the eyebrows. The country boy from near Gunnedah. Hits it from the top of the arc, straight into Bell Chambers. So the Bombers, a little reprieve. Begley, Collier, over the top. Danaher, well, he knew where Heppel was, but it's going to come unstuck.
And it's Naismith with the intercept to Cunningham, and now Grundy confronted by Parrish, so goes by hand to McVeigh. Again, they control it through Lloyd.
And to think that their ruck stocks were so strong that they could not play Kurt Tippett tonight and also lose Toby Nankervis in the off-season, who has had a big influence for Richmond, and Sinclair and Naismith both playing terrific footy.
And the pressure was on early, wasn't it? People saying that they got rid of the wrong guy. Nankervis should have been the one to stay, but they seem to have the balance right at the business end of the season. Bagley, quick hands out. McDonald, tipping Woody to Myers. Now Goddard to Zaharakis. Again confronted. No obvious option to go to. So he links up with Hurley and now Gleeson. Gleeson will go to Stewart. Jones will have time to get across, force a contest and allow Rowan to do his thing at ground level. Goes to ground. Jones comes in. Bombers have the numbers, 3-on-2. And they manage to hold it up.
Good job. Good on Mark, right tackle, mate. Thank you, Gary.
Razor just giving Mark Bagley a little pump up there. I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Off the hands of Heaney through Collier. Hewitt. Umpire said he ducked.
Cheers, Georgie. No cry. Coming out here. Coming out here. Hey!
Parrish to Collier. Danaher with a couple to beat again, and again it's Reid over the top. Didn't quite complete the mark. Clever from Danaher. Little kick to Begley, who has literally no one forward to the football to kick to other than Swans players. Has to hold it up, gets stripped and is gone. The Swans wall across half-back, near impenetrable for much of the evening as McVeigh goes forward. Spears it inside 50 again. Off the hands of the contest. Maybe a chance now for the Bombers through Ambrose.
They had plenty of numbers at the fall of the ball. Now Collier just working it through into the hands of the teenager. It has been the Swans who have just bludgeoned and bruised the Bombers this afternoon. They've been simply outstanding. They've been the hosts, but haven't really been too hospitable. Every time the Bombers have gone near the ball, the Bombers have known they've got to get rid of it quickly and choose the right option or it will come unstuck. 64-point lead is Zach Jones. Second behind the ball. Takes it easy then into the arms of Lloyd. And we mentioned about some of these players that have just slotted straight in. He's hardly missed since he arrived and put on the red and white jumper. Through to McVeigh, who some thought might be playing his last season for the Swans. Not at all. Another year ahead for McVeigh. Jones now to Cunningham. Keen to keep his spot. Full stretch. Papley. So Papley hasn't scored yet for the afternoon.
Then you punched it. So I'm playing a mark. I'll play a mark, that's right. Just back here, please, Mark.
Zach Jones has been so important for Sydney this year. Speak a bit about McVeigh and Lloyd coming off half-back, but Jones provides so much run, and Tom Papley had enough of that. He paid the mark. Another important player for the Swans. They've got all these players who are prepared to embrace their role and do it well.
9 goals in the first 3 finals last year. Goalless and McGranny gets one this afternoon. His first.
Oh, there's the man.
Tony Lockett.
Wasn't that a famous point, that one?
Any score will do.
18 goals, 6 the Swans have kicked this evening. That'll please Plugger. Hewitt, Parker, McVeigh. Bouncing ball inside 50. Papley. Little party trick to Towers for the finish.
Tom Papley, just a little flick over the top and just collected it beautifully. But Dean Towers, as you mentioned, one of those players has just grown in confidence and just continues to play his role.
Personal best for Dean Towers, kicked 2-2 once before, but for this afternoon, early evening, he's put 3-1 on the scoreboard.
This field with Sydney at the moment, Hamish, compared to last year, you could almost name a similar bottom six, and I don't mean to be disrespectful saying bottom six, I'm talking younger, inexperienced players to last year, Papley and Hewitt and Towers and these types of players, but they've all improved so much. So 50-metre penalty here for the Bombers, but their bottom six now is just so much better than last year because of time and games, and they've just added so much to their game. So they go in now to next week's final, into future finals, with a more even contribution across the 22.
The high end is still performing as they were last year.
Yep.
The bottom six
is caught right up, and it just means they're dangerous. So dangerous.
Dyson Heppel. He doesn't let his Bombers fans down, but the margin is still ugly. It's 70 points.
James Kelly's last game of AFL football, 313 games, a wonderful competitor, three-time premiership player, an All-Australian, and one of the great people to have around a footy club. He's going to head into a coaching career next year, and what a wonderful career he has had. I'm sure he will hate the way that this game has gone, how competitive he is.
Yeah, this way.
But maybe he can just run around for the last 9 minutes and soak it all in a bit.
Parker once again, 24th touch for him, trailing only Kennedy with 29. Rowan puts pressure on McGrath, then goes to ground himself. Has got some support run. That handball set up Gleeson, who gets driven into the turf. Myers emerges, the play stopped. Zaharakis to the run of Fantasia. He delivers to Danaher, receives it back. Once again, a wide open forward line. Puts it into the path of Collier. One-on-one with Cunningham. Got a bad bounce. And Lloyd to tidy up, as he's done numerous times this evening. Uses Jones in the opposite back pocket. Next link in the chain is Hanbury. Lloyd again to Heaney. Goes looking for Rowan versus McKenna. Rowan wants to keep it alive. McKenna wants to take it to the line, and Rowan gets his way. Hewitt to Papley, back to Hewitt. And again, the hunger of Gary Rowan to just keep that football alive. Hewitt squares it up to Heaney.
Push out. 50 metres.
And 50.
Inside the protected area.
Well, they sting, don't they, at this stage of a game? If it's not bad enough,
Yes, they do.
just a little bit of extra salt into the wound. This time it's James Stewart who walked into the protected area.
If you're Isaac Heaney, you're just saying, thank you very much. I'll take a nice little late goal and I don't have to work as hard for it.
A chance to kick his third as well. It's been the spread of goal kickers has been very impressive. Franklin's got 4. Towers and Sinclair 3 apiece. Handful of players with 2. And Heaney stays amongst them.
When we talk about these players who are prepared to play their role and commit to playing their role, you've got to make sure they feel appreciated and love doing that, because every player, no matter what, when they first started playing the game, wanted to get a kick and wanted to kick a goal, and it's okay to feel like that. So when you're asked not to do that and not to have that the focus of your game, you've got to feel a bit of love from somewhere else when you're not getting as much of the footy. If you're playing a different role, involves maybe a negative role, defensive type role, you've got to feel the love from your teammates. The Swans do that so well.
They're doing it on their terms at the moment. Parker, a long ball to full forward. Rowan at full stretch. McGrath quickly to Gleeson. Ambrose, they're running out of room.
And the point you make, Gary Rowan's had the least possessions of anyone on the ground for Sydney, just 7 touches. If you looked at stats, you'd say, gee, he's been quiet, Gary Rowan, but he's done so much work. He's presented, he's harassed as he did just then.
And I'm certain that when they get to their team meeting on Monday, some of those pressure acts, some of those score involvements that he's had will get highlighted. And that's where you start to feel the love from your teammates and you feel appreciated. So you want to do it again. That's what gets you coming back doing it again.
Fantasia, a heavy knock.
Here's your mark. Hold there, Nick, hold.
All looks okay. So back it goes to Heppel. Grundy just on the ground, got him in a tricky spot for Herpel to deal with. Tipperwoody went up, not quite for Hartley, tried to toe poke it in the Collier direction. Again, the Swans desperate to the football. They lead by 71, but you feel that they're not done yet.
I didn't think you held it, Isaac.
No, but I think a few of them out there would just be happy if it was done. And another man, Haim, who's playing his last game of AFL footy, a champ, Joe Watson.
He's been remarkable, hasn't he? We'll speak about him before he leaves the ground. Parker. Now Hewitt and Jones. One-on-one, Sinclair. He's going to hold his spot, you'd think, given what we've seen from him this afternoon. Look at Joe Watson. He arrived into the game with a burden of expectation, given his surname. He found his feet and became a captain of the club, and then was forced to lead the club through its darkest time. He accepted that role, and he's handled himself like few others could or would have. He's been unbelievable, and he has the ball in his hands again. He's been superb. It'll be sad to see him go. Heaney to Towers. Wants Newman. And then the low ball inside, forward 50 again. Hurley ends up with it on the back foot, gave it off to McKenna. McGrath missed his man, and athletic enough to get hold of the football out of the air with the boot. Finds himself 40 or 50 metres, but it's the Swans again, this time Jones.
That half-back line has just been supreme, hasn't it? Parker. Advantage paid as Hanbury runs to 55, goes to the pocket for Sinclair, and his hands have been exceptional. Chance to kick his 4th goal. He's got 1 in each quarter. Michael Hurley just pulling up sore there, grabbing at his right elbow.
Could be that shoulder that's the strapping as well. But maybe his wrist. He's a bit uncomfortable with that right arm. Jace, you're right. But Sinclair, you said it before, just forced his way into the team, held his place, and today has been superb.
Perfect angle, but a far from perfect kick.
Unless he was looking for McVeigh.
But for a player like Callum Sinclair, huge performance tonight. Kick 3 in a final. As we take a look at the distance covered, and again, James Stewart, a lot of up and back work tonight from that forward 50.
It has, as the game's progressed, ended up a less of a running game. You know, we're not seeing the 15.5, 16 Ks. That's probably just because of the way the game's petered out a little bit, the Sydney dominance.
Just one of the top 5 being a midfielder. Collier looks inboard to Tipperwoody. He's been quiet. McDonald Tipperwoody gives it off to Begley. Collier, handball is set up for Lloyd, and he slaps it away with the greatest of ease to Cunningham.
I wonder also if the Ks were a little bit lower too, just because of the size of the ground.
McDonald Tipperwoody runs down Zach Jones.
Great chase. I'm sure that speed would have been high.
It really is one of the most exciting parts of the modern-day game, isn't it? The run-down tackle from behind. You can see it unfolding in slow motion, even though the player certainly isn't. McKenna goes inside 50. And again, the Swans with numbers in the right places, so composed, assess their options. And it seems with a minimum of fuss, just rebound time and again.
They look to have more time than the Bombers. Now, you'd expect that with a 71-point lead, but whether they're getting to the right spots or whether they're not getting flustered, they seem to find their options easier.
Sydney, oh, absolutely, yeah. They're running to the right positions, but I mean, Essendon have just got that awful feeling now. They know it's pointless, and pretty much they end up doing less of the hard running that they should do, so Sydney can find more space. It's a terrible feeling when you know you're eliminated from the final series.
Their season will end this afternoon. Job's career will come to an end, so too James Kelly, but Essendon's run this year from wooden spoon into the final should be applauded.
It should be applauded, yeah. They'll be bitterly disappointed with how it's gone today. But making the finals was a big step forward and a really impressive performance. But it goes to show, though, how far they are off the very best teams and what they need to work on over the off-season.
Cunningham marks at centre-half back and again delivers to Lloyd, so often the conduit from half-back. And now Towers. So, Lingy, what are the learnings that the Bombers will take away today? As you said, first final for 9 of them as Lloyd receives again.
Just the intensity that you do need to play within a final, and the control. Sydney just controlled around the contest. They were unbelievably strong, putting pressure on around the contest early on. But then they were super efficient, Jace. It's one thing just to be able to have numbers around the footy and crash in, but if once you do win it, you don't use the ball well and use the ball under immense pressure well, nothing happens. So they've learnt that today. Sydney have done it beautifully, controlled the ball completely. They'll work on that over the summer, the Bombers.
Good pressure from Collier and McDonald, Tip and Woody on that occasion, but the Swans still work it out. McVeigh's got it, centre wing. A couple of runners to the outside. Uses the first one. Kieran Jack just chips it over the top to Parker, fisted away by Hartley. McKenna couldn't impact the contest. Merritt receives from Gleeson and delivers to Collier. Scuttles away, kicks towards half forward, but it's all Sydney. It's a 3-on-1. Heppel hopelessly outnumbered. Mills' kick just sat up a little bit on Jones, but he was good enough to take the grab 1-on-1 against Collier.
Easy ball, easy exit in the end. To Newman from Jones. I wonder if they played any footy together at any stage, both from down on the peninsula. Parrish was lightning quick to Zaharakis, then Hartley to Hurley. Back it goes, Gleeson. One option, an easy option in the end to Goddard. Tip and Woody. Led Cunningham to the ball on the wing, but it was ignored and went to Merritt in the end. And Merritt, who has had a remarkable few seasons for the Bombers, hasn't really lowered his colours today. Every time he's looked for a target, he's found it. Danaher, long ball forward again, 3-2 for the afternoon, and maybe another coming up for Josh Begley.
Come around 2 metres. Come around 2 metres, Josh. Come back on. Pass your line.
A couple of Bombers will say farewell to AFL football for Josh Begley, his career just starting. On the left, he gets his second.
Well, finished off there by Begley. I know it doesn't matter, but you've still got to finish your work, so well done to him. There's Kurt Tippett, who wants to impress. He's warming up because the NEFL Grand Final is on after this game. The Sydney Swans reserves team taking on the Brisbane Lions reserves team. And, well, I don't think he'll get in next week, given how every player's played.
Just practicing his Thunderbird walk there.
Yeah, strange one, wasn't it? Just switching on, but Kurt Tippett want to put in a good performance, maybe to be needed later on in the finals.
There'll be a few hang around for the curtain closer, absolutely.
James Kelly, 20th game this year for the Bombers, 42 in 2 years. You couldn't have hoped to get more from a player. It's almost been his second career. He did everything he wanted to at the Cats, climbed the mountain, 273 games, 3 flags. What a career.
What a career. And he's been brilliant for the Bombers. Andrew McGrath spoke about him after he won the Rising Star, about the influence he's had on him. So it's great to see. And who knows, Hame, we might still see him at Bomberland. I'm sure Essendon will want to keep him as a coach. There'll be a few other clubs who'll be knocking on his door. He's got a big decision to make about where he's going to start his coaching career.
Myers tries to get it to Kelly, and he wins the football, just gets the staggers up. Releases the handball to Myers. Runs away from Newman. Looks for an option down the line. Collier offers a half lead. Heppel went to ground. He'll go deeper than that inside 50. And once again, Callum Mills. What a player he is across half-back. We keep hearing that one day the Swans may release him into the midfield.
And we have marvelled at their development and the players off the rookie list. They did get a couple of handy players from their academy zones, Callum Mills and Isaac Heaney, and they made sure that they developed those players as well. And not a bad bloke from Hawthorn either. He goes okay, Roddy.
Naismith to Newman. Final 30 seconds of what's been a stunning performance from the Swans. Grundy, the veteran, been through the good times and the bad times here in Sydney, but mainly good times. They've been a remarkable club, as we said. 19 of 22 years they've made the finals. You think back to those dark days of the mid-90s when they couldn't win a game. And even further than that, when they didn't have a venue to train at. These days, they're the hottest team in football. And they've successfully cleared the first of 4 hurdles standing between them and premiership glory. Essendon's season is over. The Swans by 65 points.
Sky, what though the odds be great, the Swans
afternoon. Let's go down to Jude Bolton. The song's still blaring around the SCG, but you get a chance to talk with Buddy, you take it.
But obviously 4 goals tonight. You caught the early knock. How was it feeling?
Yeah, got the grip and early, probably the first 2 minutes. We sat probably kept on the move and kept it nice and warm and was able to do that and had a bit of a rest in the last quarter.
We saw you get on the bike at quarter time, then come out and kick 4 goals straight. It was a pretty impressive effort by the team, though.
Yeah, it's always nice to hit the scoreboard and kick straight, especially in finals. The boys were unbelievable today. We really, that contested side of football was really good. We were able to get it forward and kick straight. And, it was nice.
Dominated the aerials. I mean, 28-5 in contested marks, particularly the likes of Callum Sinclair. He just continues to grow in stature, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was good. He kicked 3 tonight, which was really good. He was able to mark on Hurley. And it was just a really good, solid team effort by the boys.
And what about Friday night? Now you look forward to Geelong now. It's a massive game on the MCG. How far can this team go?
Yeah, it is. It's a huge game. Geelong obviously lost last night, but we know we're going to have to be at our best to beat them next week, and we look forward to that.
Good luck, mate.
Beautiful. Thanks, Jude.
Well, Jobe Watson, he arrived at the footy club with the burden of expectation. Best and fairest, club captain. And in the darkest of times, he led the way.
He did through a time that felt like he should never have had to do. He was wonderful for his footy club. He's finished now. I'm sure he'll get a big round of applause as he heads off the ground. Same with James Kelly. Jude Bolton, I think you've got the skipper, Josh Kennedy, with you.
I have got the skipper. 29 disposals tonight, 2 goals, Josh. This side is in red-hot form.
Yeah, it's been a good game tonight. It's been a good month, but things can change pretty quickly. We certainly know that. So, back on the horse and certainly focus on next week pretty quickly.
But the foundations of the game have come forward since that round 6 when you were 0-6. Everything around the stoppage has been going well.
Yeah, it has. I mean, our full ground defence. We've been really clicking, but it's been a long year, and we just got to keep it going. We've got hopefully 3 more games, but obviously next week the focus, and we just try and lock in and get it done.
Good luck, mate.
Footy moves on, doesn't it? We saw Buddy talking with Jude, who started at Hawthorn, and Tom Harley, a fellow cat with James Kelly, both with different clubs now. What a nice way to finish off.